everybody. Welcome back to Unfiltered Perspectives. I'm Tara.
I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Leslie.
Today, Leslie, Kim, and I are wrapping up the year with a conversation about New Year's resolutions and year-end rituals. We'll talk a little bit about why these traditions matter, why we sometimes fall short, and how we can set ourselves up for success in the coming year. So, whether you're setting bold goals, reflecting on the past, or just looking for inspiration, we have got you covered. So, let's get started. This is Unfiltered Perspectives, where real talk leads to real growth and every perspective is valued.
Thank you, Tara, for that introduction into today's topic. Let's just get right into it, ladies.
So, do you make New Year's resolutions?
I have in the past. In the past few years, have not, because I haven't been successful in completing them or following through with them. We try and we fail. Well, I've tried and failed. And for 2025, there are some things that I am going to work harder at doing and completing, but I don't know that I necessarily want to call them resolutions, if that makes sense. Just overall working better at my health, having a deeper connection, a deeper relationship with God, just building my faith, self-love, self-care, but just not resolutions, just being a better me. What about you, ladies?
Well, so can I ask a follow-up question? What's the difference for you then between like a resolution and just these general intentions? You said you set them before and you failed, and so you stopped doing them.
I don't know if I can put into words what the difference is. How would you define a resolution?
Mm-hmm.
How would you define it?
How about you, Tara? Do you do resolutions?
I do make resolutions, but they are not usually of the type that people might normally say are resolutions. I used to do the thing like, oh, this year I'm going to lose 20 pounds, or this year I'm going to make sure I do this, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And what I've learned is that when I do that with the intention of starting on January 1st, I typically do not stick with them. So if what I've noticed is that if there is something that I truly want to accomplish, I don't wait until January 1st to do it. I set my intention to start right then, because I'm of the type, if I put it off, then it will be put off again and again and again. But if I decide, you know what, I want to do this, I'm going to start right now. I don't have to wait. And I find that I have better luck with stick-to-itness when that happens. But I also no longer try to make those like sweeping types of things. Like, I'm not going to make a resolution where I say, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. What I will do is I will say, I will exercise more frequently, and I try to set specific goals for that, and not something so absolute as like a number of poundage or whatever to lose, because if I don't start seeing the type of progress that I want to see, or that I dream of seeing in a short amount of time, then I will feel like a failure. But if I set a goal and I break it down into steps that I can actually take that makes sense, and I can start, seeing even how small steps lead to the goal that I want to reach, I'm much more successful.
Yeah.
But you asked, like, how do we define resolution? And I define a resolution as something an intention that I set for myself that I am committed to achieving.
Right. And I'm glad that you used, because as Kim asked that question, I was trying to find a way to put it into words, and I was going to come back and use the very example that you just used as far as like weight. I'm not setting a goal to lose 50 pounds. I'm setting a goal to eat healthier, work out more, take better care of my overall health. So the resolution to me would be that one goal to lose 50 pounds. Like, I'm not setting a resolution on that one thing, that one goal to lose 50 pounds. I'm setting a goal to just be overall healthier. So I was going to come back and use the very thing that you used as the example. So yeah.
More a process than an outcome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of resolutions similarly as So I'm resolving to either start a new thing or stop a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really do resolutions. I have for the last few years picked a word of the year and use it as my word to reflect on and meditate on throughout the year. Some years more successful than others. Very unsuccessful this year. I didn't even remember. Okay, I didn't even remember what my word was. And then, check this out. When I went back to look at what my word of the year for 2024 is, it is commitment.
Look at that. Better commit to remembering your word.
Clearly, I did not commit to that practice.
So why do you think it is that people make resolutions in the first place? Like, what do you think that they reveal about us?
I mean, I think something about the new year of it, right? There's so much promise about what's in front of us in the new year in terms of like picking up a new thing, right? There's the promise of newness, of starting over, of fresh starts. I also think there's something about the ending of the year for these like giving up habits. So for example, a reason why someone might, if my resolution is to stop eating candy or stop eating sweets, right? So I might say, I'm going to stop eating sweets in the new year because I know I have every intention of eating sweets over Christmas, right? So it makes no sense for me to say, right now on December 16th, I know I want to do it. I can just start right now because I know I'm not going to. Because I know I'm going to a party this weekend and I'm gonna have some Christmas cookies. That's not true for me personally, but
But you're just saying. I
I'm
think
just saying.
too. I think too. That's the positive side of it, and not that this is necessarily a negative, but I think a lot of times too that we go through the year of having disappointments because we do have them. That's just the reality of it, and we want to get on the good foot. You know, we look at all the things that we could have done, should have done, wanted to do, and we look at this as a new opportunity to do those things that we may not have succeeded in the year going out.
Yeah.
You know, and we just create another opportunity for ourselves to say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm going to do this thing that I didn't accomplish last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with both of you, actually. I think that it represents a fresh start for people, but it also, like you said, it gives us a chance to look back at, where we've been, what we've done, and where we're headed. And it gives us a chance to, it's like you're ending out the new year, like you're closing that book on the things that didn't go so well, and you're opening up to a fresh start. You open up a new chapter, you know what I mean? So I think in a way it symbolizes, like you said, Kim, hope, fresh start.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, and a lot of times transformation for, a better us. Like my resolutions tend to be the things that, okay, like I said, like, and so I do sometimes make small ones, but like more like that are process driven, like, and I don't wait until like the first of the year to start it, except I do half-heartedly or can I curse here? I won't do that. I do half-heartedly I'll use that part of the body. I'll say things like, "Oh, I'm." It's funny I asked that question. I'm gonna stop cursing. I'm gonna stop cursing. Yeah, that lasts for all of maybe 10 minutes. Because my mouth is foul. I'm sorry. I try and I try, and I'm gonna keep trying until I'm at a place where I'm satisfied. But yeah, I tend not to make those really like sweeping ones. So why do you think, I guess, I know Kim, you wanted to also address other year-end rituals or year beginning rituals, but I do want to follow up on this one. Why do you think so many people feel that they fail at resolutions, either feel that they fail or actually do fail at the resolutions that they set? I'm asking because I think if we get a handle on that, we may be able to get a handle on what to do differently so that we are successful, or, to set ourselves up for success.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do think some of it is what you two have been saying, right? That often resolutions are about some outcome, rather than some process, and that isn't like really a plan to get you to the outcome. But even more than that, I think sometimes resolutions are about imagining a different you. I wish I could say this differently. Yeah, did that make sense? It's so in this way, not like the most grounded in reality, but they just sort of imagine. So an example of that I'm thinking of is, you know how sometimes people say you should not like, it's not a good idea to date the person that you want them to be. You need to like date the person who is in front of you now and not expect that at some point, right, they're gonna be a neat person or they're gonna become a person who calls you all the time or all of these things, right, that you imagine they have the potential to be. Nothing wrong with imagining potential, especially in ourselves. But I think sometimes our New Year's resolutions are about how we will become a different person rather than be better at who we are.
Mm-hmm. I like the way you phrased that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's so funny because I have to say, I posted something on social media. Social media, wow. Social media the other day.
On the interwebs.
Social media. And it said, please don't waste time being in love with potential.
Mm.
So when you said that,
word.
that's when you said that, that's what I thought about. Because baby, and we just gonna leave that for another topic. But anyway, moving right along. Don't
Catch
waste
us in February for Valentine's Day with that topic.
Yeah, don't waste. Ooh, that's nice. I can't wait. Don't waste time being in love with potential.
Yeah.
Tiny. Yeah. Mm. Moving right along.
But there's nothing wrong with like, I mean, with having potential, right? Well, maybe, but I don't want to dismiss potential and the idea of striving to be better and trying to be better, but I do think there's like some small difference between wanting and working to be better and wanting to be different, right?
Mm.
Like I'm who I am. I don't know, and I'm not going to be very good at articulating that difference, but I feel a difference between those two things.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with potential. There's even nothing wrong with wanting to celebrate the potential of someone that you care deeply for. But I think the problem comes in where, like you said, don't fall in love with potential. Don't fall in love with the person you want them to be.
I don't even mean like don't fall in love with potential, but don't waste time staying in love with potential. And that person is not moving, growing. They're stagnant. They're they're in the same place that you met them. And they're not moving and they're not growing.
Absolutely.
We've changed the topic.
No, we didn't, because it's still part of it. Because I think that several of the reasons why resolutions fail is because we tend to set our goals, or we tend to not set them, but to have overly ambitious goals where we think that, it took me 10 years to gain these 90 pounds, but I'm going to lose it in the first 3 months of, this next year. And that's not feasible. That's just not reality. And so what happens is first of all, it's a dream, it's a pipe dream, and we don't even have clear plan on how to achieve it. We just know we want it, but we don't know how we're going to get to it. And so when it doesn't happen, we get disappointed and we quit. Or even if we're trying and we're doing all the things that we know how, or taking all the advice, and we think we're doing the right thing, we're moving in the right direction, and we have a setback, we let it keep us down as opposed to picking up and going on, continuing on. Sometimes I think that it's like with me and my cursing, I'm like, I already blew it. F it. Keep it going. I'm there now. So, hey, no, I'm kidding. But yeah, and sometimes, we don't take into account the reality of a lot of times the resolutions that people make. They can be time consuming. They can take a lot more effort than we realize, or even that we're willing to put into it. And so I think ultimately, if I'm thinking in terms of this, if we really think about it, when we feel these types of failures of resolutions come from a lack of planning and a lack of forethought.
What is it saying? Failing to plan is planning to fail.
Yeah.
So, I think I also though hear you talking about all or nothing thinking, right?
Absolutely.
Like if I don't do all of it, Or if I don't do none of it, then I may as well give up rather than,
Mhm.
well, I only cursed 3 times today. That's
Yep.
effing good.
Really, Kim? Oh my word.
But you're right. That's right. So in terms of that then, what can we say would be some tips for success?
Pre-planning.
Definitely planning. I think also too, for me, which is partly why I've like moved on to the practice that I do, thinking about the why, like what's the reason, right, that I want to stop cursing? What's the reason that I want to lose weight? What's the reason that I want to be more healthful, right?
Yeah.
And so if the because when I sort of fall off of this all or nothing, I can recenter back on. Maybe it's okay because maybe I want to be like the reason I want to stop cursing, right? Is I want to be a better example for the young people around me. Cursing is one avenue to do that, but if I am not like hitting all of the marks in that avenue on that path, there are probably some other ways that I could also hit that mark, right? There are
Yeah.
probably some other ways that I could be moving towards that, like being a better example or whatever the big why is.
So pre-planning is a good way to, set yourself up for success. Depending on, like Kim said, recognizing what your why is or what your whys are. Also, depending on what your goal is, just having the right support in place and just maybe having an accountability partner.
Very good. Yep, I agree with that.
Love supports and accountability partners.
Mm-hmm.
I would also suggest making sure that whatever it is you wish to accomplish is actually manageable, that it's I like thinking about SMART goals, but being specific. Also, maybe sometimes it's a good idea to start small rather than, just trying to go for the gusto right away, go cold turkey on some things, or, whole hog, cold turkey, whole hog, whatever. Thanksgiving is over. Should stop with the food references. But
Never stop with food references. But can you go back a little? You said that you like to make SMART goals. Can you say a little bit about what those are? What's a SMART goal?
yeah, so in coaching, that's a term that we use. They should be specific, measurable, attainable. Oh, what was the R? I don't remember what the R is off the
This
top of
one's
my
okay,
head.
relevant.
So, and also they should also have have a time frame in mind. Yeah. So, Kim, you wanted to also talk about other year-end rituals?
Right. So I don't do the resolution anymore, but I have started this word of the year reflection, and I have a whole like long list of potential. Sometimes there will be a word that just comes to you, but I like some rules and structure. So I have a whole long list of words,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll use some like dice to like randomize it. And then ideally, that is the word that I come back to and focus on and reflect on throughout the year. Like maybe I will do it every month or I will do it every week. I don't know at what point in 2024 I completely gave up on my very ironic word of the year commitment. But I will try it again this year. I will pick from this list. I will find a word. Some of my past words have been in 2020, it was intentional. In 2021, it was explore. In 2022, it was possibility. In 2023, it was progress. And so it gives me a thing to come back to during the year.
Mhm.
I also journal at the end of the year. I do this also on my birthday, but I just sort of have some questions that help me take stock of the year that has passed. I mean, I think sometimes we go so quickly through our lives and we get to the end and we think, oh, I haven't been great this year. I've been terrible. I've accomplished nothing. And having that time to like sit back and reflect and really think about, I think we miss so many small accomplishments that we take for granted, so much little progress
Mhm.
that we just like speed by, but to really think about, I don't know, how I killed it this year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I think that's good. I like the idea of Because I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in, like you said, things that didn't go well or things that are not going well in our lives that I think it's important that we take time every day to just reflect on the things that are good, the things that we are grateful for. And so I like to do it. And I honestly, I don't do it all the time. I do it a lot of times, but there are days when I don't. But, to take at some point in your day, whether it's the end of the day or the start of the day, just to like journal or however you want to do it, three things, at least three things that you're grateful for, that you're grateful to be a part of, or that you're grateful to have in your life.
Mhm.
So I think that's good.
Mm.
And I also think another thing that's beneficial to do is to make sure that you are, at least for myself, taking time to take care of yourself. Self-care is so very important, especially when people have such busy, a lot of times overwhelming lives that they lose track of themselves. They lose track of their own well-being because they're trying to be this, that, or anything else for other people, for other things. And they oftentimes don't take the time to just care for themselves, to love on themselves. And I think that's something that we're missing. Any other ideas that people might have?
Well, there's one more ritual that we do in my congregation. It's not a universal, Unitarian, Universalist ritual, but a lot of us do it. I tried it once with family, a fire communion. And so the idea behind the fire communion is it is a letting go. And sometimes there's like an additional bringing in. And so I'm working out the logistics of it for this year. But the basic logistic is we write on sort of slips of paper what it is that we want to let go of for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just sort of burn it. It's like you like see the ashes and it burns and lets go. I think this year we'll also do a second part of it, which is what we want to bring into our lives in the coming year or what we want to commit to for the coming year. And instead of burning something, there will be something tangible
Mm-hmm.
that people can take away with them.
I like that ritual.
I definitely ruined a bowl at home one year trying to do a fire.
Did the fire department come out?
No. But I also, one year at church trying to do it, ruined a pillar.
Oh no.
I don't know. I don't know how I did this, but yeah, it was like I think the heat of it
Mm-hmm.
warped the paint or something.
Oh
So,
wow.
so yeah. So I am imperfect. I am imperfect in leading this ritual. Hence my really trying to think through the logistics for this year.
Well, as we talked about, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's the process.
Yes, right? It is an offering. It is my imperfect offering. But if you do attempt a fire communion at home or a fire ritual at home, you want to try a fire safe bowl, like something of clay, maybe, probably not glass, probably not metal. And, if you can be outside, it doesn't have to be a very long thing. If you can be outside, always better, I think, trying to burn outside than inside. Some hints and tips.
I don't have a hint or tip about a ritual, but I do have a tip or a challenge, I guess, a challenge for a resolution, which is not about necessarily perfection, but it's about improving ourselves to being a better us. And it's one that I am going to do as well. And that is actually, there are two things. One is I want to try to learn something new. And it doesn't even have to be like a big deal. It could be as simple as reading a book on something that I'm interested in, or, just trying something, learning something new. And another one is something that I sort of did this year, and I didn't actually have it set as a resolution, but I think it's a worthy one, and that is to try, I guess, well, try to do something that addresses a fear or that like that conquers a fear. All right. So one of my fears has always been, and we talked last week about me being like introverted or whatever. But I think that stems from a fear of I don't know, putting myself out there, exposing myself, meaning, I mean, just not like that, Camp. of being vulnerable, I guess. And I think that this, what we're doing here today and we've been doing since, was it March? Oh my gosh, it's been like months and months, guys. Do you realize that?
I
Is
know.
just being vulnerable and voicing my opinions and speaking out more and, just doing something that it just is so, I would have thought this time last year was so not me. Not me. So, yeah. And I challenge other people to find that, something like that in their lives that they can confront and conquer or try to conquer. Okay, Kim.
Do you know yet what your things are? What the fear that is, what the fear that you will try to conquer is, and what's the second thing, the new thing that you will learn?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Maybe we'll check in at the beginning of the year, and so we'll have some accountability for
Accountability.
a
Yeah.
new year.
Anybody else have?
Leslie, well, you said some of your intentions for the new year are around faith.
Yeah, faith and just taking better care of myself physically, my mental health, just taking better care of me overall. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We will check in with all of these. I haven't picked a word yet, and I don't want whatever word I pick to be colored by these next 2 weeks, which are going to be a doozy. So I will wait until after the 29th to pick my word.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked about, resolutions and how, sometimes they can start to feel overwhelming, which is why sometimes they fail. But I think that Proverbs reminds us that when we bring our plans to God, we gain clarity and strength. My scripture today comes from Proverbs 16:3, which says, "Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established." And that is absolutely what I plan to do. So
Do we want to talk about holiday hiatus? We are taking a holiday hiatus. Maybe it will involve some Christmas cookie eating. Certainly, it will involve some resting and regrouping. So catch us in the new year.
yeah, so thank you guys for joining us on this last episode of Unfiltered Perspectives for 2024. Remember, resolutions aren't about perfection, they are about progress. Whether it's starting fresh or continuing a steady growth, let's approach 2025 with purpose and with grace.
Find us on Facebook and YouTube at Unfiltered Perspectives. Find us on Instagram at Unfiltered Perspectives IG. You can always email us at unfilteredperspectives@outlook.com.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode.
Whatever you're doing this holiday season, please be safe. Please enjoy, spread the love, and we look forward to you being back with us in the new year. Happy holidays. We love you and be safe.